Trump is digging in. He's refusing to concede the 2020 race while pushing his attorneys to pursue legal challenges in key battleground states. Sources telling CNN First Lady Melania Trump and son-in-law Jared Kushner, senior White House advisor, are urging the president to accept his election loss. But the president's sons, Don Jr. and Eric Trump, they're pushing Republicans and Trump supporters to reject the election results, which brings us to tonight's cross-exam with CNN legal analyst Ellie Honig, former U.S. Assistant Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Ellie, one viewer asks, how realistic is it that President Trump can succeed on a strategy of challenging state election results in court?
Anna, here is my free, unsolicited advice for President Trump. It's over. It is over. This legal strategy has almost no chance of changing the outcome of the election. The biggest problem is they simply do not have reliable evidence of widespread voter fraud. And we are seeing courts around the country dismiss these lawsuits from the Trump campaign almost as quickly as they're filed. We've seen dismissals now in Georgia, in Michigan, in Nevada, in Arizona. The only case with any realistic chance so far is the one out of Pennsylvania involving the extension of deadline from November 3rd to November 6th. The Supreme Court has shown some potential willingness to take that case and perhaps to throw out some of the ballots. But here's the practical problem. Margins matter. You were talking earlier in the show about Arizona. People may be wondering, why does Arizona matter? Joe Biden's already over 270. Because if Joe Biden holds on to Arizona or Georgia, then he doesn't even need Pennsylvania in order to stay over 270. And even within Pennsylvania, it looks like Biden's margin of victory is way larger than even the number of ballots that are in dispute. So President Trump has said that tomorrow we're going to see this grand litigation strategy rolled out. They better come up with something new because so far they've got nothing.
Yeah, the latest numbers out of Arizona today, about 20,000 vote difference, Georgia about 10,000 vote difference, and much more in Pennsylvania still. Here's another question from a viewer, Ellie. Can President Trump take a case to the Supreme Court and have them decide who won the election as he said he would do?
No, that is not the way it works. I really want to make sure people understand this. First of all, nobody gets to take a case to the Supreme Court. They decide if they'll hear your case. It's called certiorari. They only grant certiorari, take your case, in under 5% of all cases presented to them. Second of all, in a case like this, you cannot go directly to the Supreme Court. Procedurally, you first have to go through the lower federal courts or through a state Supreme Court. Also, the Supreme Court only considers what we call actual cases or controversies. They do not issue a decree. You win the election, you lose the election. There has to be an actual legal dispute. Now, people may be wondering, how about Bush versus Gore? But please understand, the Supreme Court in Bush versus Gore did not say, George W. Bush, you win, Al Gore, you lose. They were ruling on a very narrow, very specific issue of law because the whole election happened to come down to one state, Florida, and because the margin was razor thin, not even 1,000 votes, we had this very unusual situation. That is not the scenario here. Do not expect another Bush versus Gore.
So this question from another viewer may be on a number of people's minds, given how close the race is in a few of these states. Under what circumstances can the losing candidate request a recount?
Yeah, Anna, like so many things you and I have discussed over the past few months, the rules here vary state by state. And you can see a list here of some of the key states, Arizona on down through Wisconsin. Generally speaking, recounts are triggered only in very close elections. The numbers vary from a 1% margin to a 0.5% margin. In some cases, just a small number of votes, 2,000 votes. In some states, it's automatic if the margin's that close. In other states, it's by request of a party. But there are states where if you request a recount and then you lose, you have to foot the bill. Here's what viewers really need to know about recounts. They almost never change anything in a major way. In 2016, there actually was a recount in the presidential race in Wisconsin, and that resulted in a net change of 131 votes. That is nowhere near enough to swing a state, and it looks increasingly like President Trump is going to have to swing multiple states in order to make any impact here.
Ellie Honig, good to have you here. Thanks so much for your expertise. And thanks to our viewers for their ongoing great questions.
Yes.
The former presidential candidate says he's moving to Georgia to help Democrats win the two crucial Senate runoffs there. At least what appear to be runoffs as the state continues to tally votes. We'll tell you who right after this.